Morning, everybody. Well, it's morning here, and or hello world, whatever you want to say. I am going to talk to you today about Mars' journey through Cancer and why it's quite an extended one, and give you some dates to look for that are going to be some big turning points and so on. So Mars has just moved into Cancer, will be in Cancer till November the 3rd. But then Mars moves into Leo and stations retrograde at 6 Leo on the North Node of the USA. But I'm going to do a whole separate one nearer the time for that station retrograde. And then we'll move back into the sign of Cancer on January the 6th until April the 14th. So it's a long journey through Cancer. And what that means, because Mars goes retrograde every couple of years, is that some of the aspects will repeat, but some will not. We're going to look at all of this journey, and it's also very significant for those of us in the USA because the USA is a Cancerian country, right? So the USA's chart is going to be aspected again, and we're going through this election period. But I'm going to do a separate one for Mars and the Mars retrograde and the USA chart. So, this one's just going to be about it in general. So let me get the chart up and start going through the aspects. I'm going to go through fairly quickly because, I just want you to get a highlight of the feel of it. So Mars moved into the sign of Cancer after being in Gemini on September the 4th, which was yesterday as I record this at 3:46 p.m. Eastern. So if I look at this, you can see that Mars is currently moving really fast. It's going to kind of get slower as it gets towards Leo, but not really slow down until it gets into Leo. So that's kind of where we're starting at. Now, the first major aspect is actually today as I'm recording it, and I'm not going to get it exact. I'm recording this on September the 5th. Mars is in a watery grand trine with Haumea. Haumea, the creatrix, who is moved fully into Scorpio earlier in 2024 and is part of the major shifts of slower moving planets moving through changing signs. That's already happened. We've had Haumea move into Scorpio. Sedna has moved into the sign of Gemini. Those two will not leave those signs again during this major period. We've still got Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus to change signs over the next couple of years. And so just that alone is a major turning point. Now, Haumea is kind of connected to nature and rebirth of nature and regeneration. She looks like an egg. I did a great Substack article on this that actually needs some editing, but I will edit it. But you can find it on my Substack. I called it the aspect of the decade. But Mars, this is in water signs, and Mars in Cancer. Let's talk about Mars in Cancer first of all, right? Let's quickly go over that. Mars in Cancer really is your archetypal, at its highest kind of energy, is really your archetypal protective warrior, sensitive warrior, you know, and acting from the heart, because Mars is action and will and drive and personal assertion. And Cancer is really about, coming from the gut, the emotional body, what your feelings are. So if you're being Mars in Cancer highest energy, this is always about acting from the heart and acting from a more guardian and protective place. Okay, so it depends on your level of consciousness or the level of consciousness of the people around you. The challenge with Mars in Cancer is that it's hypersensitive, so it can be a little bit emotionally reactive. and act from an impulsive place. And many of us will go through this journey doing bits of both at times, depending how it affects our own chart. But we can the awareness of the fact that the challenge, if you like, with Mars in Cancer is this hypersensitivity and emotional reactivity before kind of tuning into the gut and going, okay, let's breathe and think about this before we do it. I think most of you know by now, if you've been watching me, that I don't do the whole detriment or fall thing. So I'm not even going to go there. I don't think any planet is in a bad place. Okay. I think every planet in every sign has its higher state of consciousness and its more reactive state of consciousness, or lower, whichever you want to call it. So I just don't do that kind of thing. But Mars in Cancer is perhaps, somebody who throws their heart and feelings into their work and their actions, okay? Their passions, if you like. So and Cancer is the home, is the shell, is protective. It's also the mother and nurturing. So it could be a little bit smother mother, but it's also this passionate mothering energy or parenting energy. So you get the point. It's what you do with it, this Mars in Cancer. All right. So, it's like, this the sensitive warrior, as I said, it's the passionate warrior. It's the coming from the heart kind of warrior. So it's time to boldly express your emotions clearly and boldly, but not reactively and not angrily. That's the real purpose of Mars' journey through Cancer, and you're going to get it twice. So most of it, not all of it. So anyway, on to the aspects. So we start with this Mars trine to Haumea, which will, of course, happen again, will not happen again, sorry, because Mars does not retrograde all the way back to 0 Cancer. But this is kind of setting the scene because Haumea's in Scorpio. Mars is the traditional guide for Scorpio. This Mars in Scorpio is deep, kind of rooted passions, and so you can imagine this is kind of saying come from the root and the gut. This is those lower chakra energies, but saying really come in from that power to regenerate something in your life. So that's the start of this journey, and we're going to be feeling this collectively, of course, as well. All right, so I'm going to whiz kind of along quite a bit forward to September the 11th. Mercury is going to aspect Mars, and this will be a bit significant. Oh, sextile. Sorry. Oh, Mercury will sextile Mars. And so you can see that Mercury is now, this is important because Mercury is going to go retrograde later on during this journey of Mars. But Mercury stationed retrograde recently at 4 Virgo and now speaks to Mars as Mercury starts to tread new ground. This is mind, Mercury in Virgo. How can I be humbly of service? How can I chop wood, carry water? How can I analyze where I'm going as well? Tune into the gut to do so. Not the biggest aspect, but hey. And then, of course, the next day, the moon, every time it's in Capricorn, will oppose Mars, and every time it's in Cancer, will conjunct it. But I look at the lunar aspects on a daily basis in my Substack blog because they're too much to go over here, because September the 15th is a big day, and I'm going to show you why. So on September the 15th, oh God, I did Mercury. Sorry, guys. Okay, so on September the 15th, Mars will have reached 6 Cancer. And and this is the degree that the nodes, and we'll square the nodes. And this is the degree that the nodes will sit through the eclipses. I've already done my first video for the first eclipse that's on September the 18th. So just 3 days after this. So really, Mars is squaring their nodes on the eclipse. And not only that, let me just take you through. So the exact square to the nodes is on September the 15th. And then I will give you a couple more aspects, and then we will kind of talk about it in great detail. Mars will then oppose Centaur Pholus. I'll talk more about that in a second. That's going to be on September the 16th. So remember, the eclipse is, this is all from September the 15th to onwards. And then on September the 20th, 2 days after the eclipse, Mars will oppose Ceres. But let's pretend all this is happening together, because it really is. So we're going to just draw some lines. Oh, I didn't do that. Sorry. All right, lines. Mars square to the nodes, which are still squaring Ceres and Pholus. They're square, they have been exact square just not long ago as I record this, on September the 5th, but really all of this is happening at the same time. Ceres in Capricorn has been retrograde, did retrograde back to 7 degrees, went as far out of bounds as I've ever seen it, stationed direct at 7 Capricorn, not quite conjunct Pholus again, but at the same degree. Pholus is take the lid off it. Pholus is Pandora's box. Both of these have been revealing what's not working in the structures of our lives and what doesn't meet our needs and how it meets and doesn't meet our needs, and that all the structures of our lives and the rules of society and so on. And of course, I'm wearing my Petrify the Patriarchy shirt for this. Then we have the nodes. The nodes are always, new and full moons near the eclipses. Sorry, near the nodes, new and full moons near the nodes are the eclipses. So we're right in the eclipse here for this big Pisces eclipse on its own. And Mars exactly squares the nodes and then comes up and opposes these two. But this is a cardinal grand cross, pushing us forward, giving us impetus to really push for change even more than we already have been. This is like, whoa. Remember, Mars in Cancer is that sensitive warrior, but people are going to be a bit emotionally reactive. But the thing I love about this cardinal grand square is that Ceres is now moving towards the North Node. Pholus will also start moving towards the North Node again when it turns direct, but never squares the nodes again. So these two are moving towards the North Node. That's quite far out that they'll all meet, but that's moving towards our potential and future, right? And Mars in Cancer, even though again that's going to be a long time till they meet Mars, because Mars is going to go retrograde. Mars is moving closer to the South Node, the letting go of something in the past, letting go of people pleasing, thinking that we always have to kind of smooth things over. Sometimes you have to take a stand, which is very Aries. So this is such a huge time. We've got this big eclipse on September the 18th, which is only a partial eclipse. But if you watch my video, I say why I think it's significant for so many reasons. But this is really happening on the eclipse as well. So just look for another big turning point. Anything square the nodes is a big turning point, a big crossroads. This is massive in so many ways. And, we've got Black Moon Lilith on the South Node saying women are rising. Venus and Juno were there. This is definitely the rise of the divine feminine. Not always women, of course. So, but it's also that more sensitive, because Mars rules that North Node in Aries. This is this more rise of the more kind of sensitive energy of the masculine, in great ways. So that took us up to September the 20th, really, when Mars opposed Ceres and started to move on away from that cardinal grand cross. So that's a really heightened period. Around 15th to the 20th and the few days either side, I'm going to say. Huge, huge turning point. Okay, towards the future, towards new starts in well, I could go on and on, but I want to take you through the rest of it too. But it's just a big indicator that this eclipse season is going to be a big turning point towards the future. Let's move to September the 30th. Mars now starts to make aspects that will repeat after the retrograde, okay, but at different degrees. On September the 15th, Mars will have moved to 14 degrees Cancer, which is interesting because the USA's degree of the sun is 13, but is in a trine, a lovely supportive aspect to Saturn in Pisces, water again, letting go, washing away the old rules, old limiting beliefs, old changes, with the sensitive warrior, with that rise of that, the kind of guy that is not afraid to cry, basically, and not afraid to show his emotions, yet still be driven to take action and to protect and, all that kind of energy. And this one is a lovely aspect again, and we're going to get that again when Mars has moved back into Cancer and starts moving direct. All right. So, all of this is coming. So, just like let's see through to the end. But we're also, at this point, for those in the US, we're just over a month, we're about 5 weeks here from the election, less than. I think all of this is kind of indicative of a big wave of water, of people kind of that we're already seeing happening. Former Republicans saying, I've had it. I'm going to vote Kamala Harris and we'll sort all this out later, even if we don't agree with all the aspects. No, because people are washing away some of their old limiting beliefs and all that kind of stuff. On October the 6th, Mars will then trine asteroid Nessus, sorry, Centaur Nessus, also still retrograde in Pisces. Mars at 17 degrees. Remember, this is the the book stops here. This is the revealer of intergenerational abuse. If you notice as well that Vesta, the hearth, the inner flame, is in Virgo, more kind of service, useful oriented, do the right thing kind of energy. Mars trines this as we reach a month before the election. Wash away again kind of old limiting beliefs, kind of more revelations around abuse probably coming out. I don't care what side you're on, but the astrology is just telling me that this is going to be a blue wave. But, we'll see, right? And, it's just about the overall energy, not about the rights and wrongs of the party. People are just ready for a tidal shift. And then, we can kind of adjust later. On October the 13th, Mars will square Chiron. And we're past the eclipses at this point because the second eclipse, it was at 10 Libra. So, that square to the nodes still activated, pushing us forward through that eclipse period. But on the next aspect that the next major aspect that Mars is making is on October the 13th. And Mars is now at 21 degrees of Cancer, still slowing down. Look, now is moving slower. So it's kind of grindy a little bit. So these are even going to have even more impact as we grind down and really dig in to being that emotional, sensitive warrior. But Mars on the 13th will square Chiron, and then is going to come back and square Chiron again and again. And so this is significant because Chiron was conjunct that April the 8th eclipse in Aries at 19 degrees. And you're going to see him move back and station forward at 19 degrees as well. So this one, again, bringing that big change, more healing, more coming together, more taking a stand, for things, the protective, sensitive warrior again. So, there's a lot of fear around this Mars retrograde as well that I've heard. Oh, it stations retrograde on the North Node of the USA. I think it's going to be good. I think the USA as a country is gradually coming to something new, really. Not just not coming to its senses. I do think it's literally coming to something new. Then Mars will square the truth teller and table shaker, Eris, okay, at 24 degrees. So after Chiron, Mars will then square Eris, kind of shake things up a little bit more. Again, I think that's a good thing. It's also starting to form this wide cardinal T-square, but that is also pretty much another cardinal grand cross initiating forward movement change, but in a shake-up kind of way, fighting for the outsider. On the 24th, just after this, Mars will sextile Uranus. Mars will sextile Uranus on October the 24th, and that will just add to the shakeup. But why is this important? A little bit because Uranus is retrograded back to 26 degrees, conjunct Algol, which is where the Mars Uranus Algol conjunction happened, that basically kind of took out Trump's ear, the assassination attempt. I'm not laughing at that. And also eventually kind of took out Biden and caused him to drop out, in my opinion. But Rise of the Divine Feminine, again, I'm wearing my Medusa, my all gold t-shirt, petrify the fake patriarchy, freeze them out. I better get on quick because I actually have the call to get on. Then on October the 28th, Mars will trine Neptune. I mentioned at the start, Neptune also finishing their journey in this sign. Mars, by this point, over in Cancer, 27 degrees, which is the degree of the galactic center at 27 degrees Sagittarius. Not quite a yard, in fact, but almost, because but opposing Pluto. The opposition to Pluto is going to come just a couple of days later, but I do want to say as well that this is also squaring Hygeia, preventative health, the seer, what can we do to heal, health and healing, not just health of everything, carrying it forward. And then we've got the Mars Mars opposing Pluto 2 days before the election. Okay, Mars will oppose Pluto on November the 3rd. In an out of sign square to Juno, who is conjunct Haumea, the creatrix, the goddess. Juno, sacred partnership, coming together, birthing something new at the degree of Scorpio. These two at the end of the signs. Pluto is just 15 minutes literally, and 16 days from moving back into Aquarius and leaving Capricorn for the last time in our lifetimes. This is the endings. This is anaretic degree. This is cutting something out. But there's not only that, Mars and Pluto are the guides for Scorpio that's birthing something new. Again, this is why I think it's going to be a big, big win for the Dems and a regeneration of them and the country and the party as a whole. So this is why I invite you to kind of look at the bigger picture and not look at just minutiae and what the players have done in the past. I kind of really kind of predict that, whatever happens, because people are going, we've got to fix all this mess that we're in. There is going to be bipartisan support for fixing like the Supreme Court and all those things, and women's healthcare, and everything. This is real kind of ending of the patriarchy, to my mind, the way we've always done it, the old structures. I do think there's going to be big change, and yeah, you could get stuck in with, well, this person did that and the Democratic Party always did that. I really invite you to kind of look at it differently. Well, but it's your choice. Mars moves into Leo then, for the election. Okay. And of course, then hits the 0 degrees of all the planets, but we'll do a Mars in Leo one, and an election update later. Now on January the 6th. So quick. Oh God. I thought I got more time. It's because I waffle on too much, but uh, you'll kind of get repeats in some other kind of things. January the 6th, 2025, not 2024. All right. Mars moves back into Cancer. So I'm really going to move quickly through this because the bigger aspects are in the approaching, but this is Mars retrograde revisiting some of those things. But Mars moves back into Cancer January the 6th on the anniversary of you know what, but well, let's not go through that one again. Again, USA is a Cancer country though, so right. So I think Mars is going to be rediscovering its future and revisiting its future and its identity. Then Mars sex. I'm actually going to stop the share and just tell you the aspects again. Mars will then trine Neptune again on January the 12th, right before the inauguration, saying, let go of the past, let go of the old, surrender to these shifts and changes that we're in collectively. So I'm not just talking about the governments, this is all of us. On January the 15th, the Sun opposes Mars at 26 degrees, Cancer, Capricorn. So that's, kind of that Cancer Capricorn birth to old age kind of line and new structures, birthing new structures. Just opposes Mars every year, but building on all this kind of stuff. But remember, Mars is now retrograde, so there's going to be a lot of kind of looking at things again. Cancer, Capricorn Sun, again, re-looking at those structures. Mars will square Eris again on inauguration day, January the 20th. Can't make this stuff up. But again, we'll be saying, shake it up, birth something new, start something new, speak up for the little man, the outsiders. all of that. Then on January the 25th, Venus will be at 22 degrees Pisces and will make a lovely trine to Mars in Cancer. And Venus is moving well ahead. Venus is in a place of strength. She's exalted there. Mars is retrograde in a sign is less comfortable in, but this is kind of saying masculine, feminine coming together into my mind. That more softer masculine kind of energy in all of us and the higher love energy of Venus. Let's just come together and love each other. January the 26th at 22 degrees Cancer Capricorn, which incidentally was the degree Capricorn of the massive conjunction of January the 12th, 2020, when pandemic, everything started to kind of really fall apart in the structures of our lives. Not, in so many ways, pandemic, there was inflation, things, everything kind of, housing market. Mars, spiritual warrior, 22 degrees Cancer, opposes the wise owl Pallas Athena, the wise justice warrior. I think there'll be some justice, but also it enables you to get piercing insight into what you want to build with this new energy that we're moving into. Then on January the 29th, Mars opposes asteroid Lilith, talk to the hand, at 21 degrees Cancer Capricorn, again birthing something new. I think, either the ERA or, encoding Roe or Dobbs into law will be one of the first acts. I think it'll pass and we'll move into this whole new age that's just done in a different way. Mars then on February the 3rd. This is big because on in January, the moon's nodes move back into Virgo and Pisces. I've done a whole video on that with you can find them all on my channel. But Mars squares Chiron on February the 3rd, 2025 at 19 degrees of Aries, and now Chiron is direct, moving forward. And this is also reflecting something that began on the April the 8th, 2024 eclipse, because that was the degree of the eclipse. This is when the real healing kind of began. All right. So Mars squares Chiron again. Mars retrograde though, so there's going to be one more square to Chiron, but it's at that degree. And the middle squares are often, or the middle aspects on a retrograde are usually really much more, what shall we say? Much more strong. Anyway, so where's some more aspects? Oh, geez, sorry. Mars will trine Nessus on February the 9th, 2025. That revealer of abuses of power, again, revisiting that, probably kind of, just some kind of more memories coming up or more revelations coming up to be dealt with as we move forward. And then I'm really gotta rush. February the 23rd, there's Mercury trine Mars from Pisces to Cancer. So it's kind of speaking out as that kind of more emotional kind of warrior kind of thing, more loving, more nurturing warrior. I will mention that on March the 1st, while Mars is still retrograde, Venus stations retrograde too. And I'll be running my Venus retrograde class. But here we've got the divine feminine and the divine masculine now retrograde. Venus, though, will station retrograde at 10 degrees Aries in Mars' own sign. So, we're revisiting that divine masculine kind of energy and over assertiveness yet again. We're nearly done. Gosh, not many aspects towards the end, so that's good. Um, the Venus star point, new Venus star point with Venus retrograde is at 2 Aries on March 22nd. I hope you'll all consider coming and doing my amazing Venus retrograde class. On March the 26th, Mars squares Chiron for the last time from Cancer to Aries, and that's with both direct now. This is really time to move forward with this healing journey that I'm going to say began last in April of 2024 with that eclipse. That was at 19 Aries. One of our part of our healing journey, shall we say, of standing up for ourselves, finding ourselves in this new paradigm, all that kind of stuff. April the 4th, Mars squares Eris, sextiles Uranus, and trines Saturn. All direct now. Forward movement, build something new, build something much more loving, more nurturing, more creative. And it's sitting on Mercury of the USA, incidentally, but we will look at all that later. April the 6th, Venus is still retrograde she's moved back into Pisces, trines Mars. Let's come together. Let's heal each other. Let the divine feminine be more assertive. Let the divine masculine be softer. And it's within all of us. Now, remember, we started with that big square to the nodes that was on the eclipse. It was September the 15th of 2024, the exact square to the nodes. Well, on April the 11th, just before Mars moves back into the sign of Leo, Mars will trine the Pisces North Node. And remember, Venus is right there too. So this is all kind of coming together and saying we are moving into this more loving time, this more connected time. I think it's going to be an amazing Mars retrograde journey, personally, for all of us. And then finally, Mars will move back into Leo on April the 18th. I think there's a different date at the start, but sorry, it's actually April the 18th. So look forward to this and lean into feeling this healing and connectivity and playing your part in that, which is very Aries North Node. And then moving back into Pisces of coming together and birthing something new. It's just going to be awesome. And it's going to be an awesome time, I think, to live in the United States because we've had a horrible time. But it's going to reflect out everywhere, of course. So, I love you. Thank you.